Hi everyone, Ravi this side. Welcome to Engineering Adda. So today in this video we are going to discuss about the Spring Boot 3.1.0 release and its new feature. So Spring Boot 3.1.0 release has a new feature which provides support for the external services. That external services can either be test containers or the Docker Compose file. Okay. So if you are not aware about the Docker and its basic working, then there are a lot more videos on my channel. You can go and watch it out. Here we are going to discuss about the Spring Boot 3.1.0 release new feature which provide the support for the Docker Compose. In my previous video, I already have covered about the Docker Compose, how to write a Docker Compose file and how to connect your DB with the Spring Boot application and run that in the Docker container. Everything I have discussed in the previous videos. There is a playlist. I will provide the link of that in the video description so you can watch it out. So here we are going to discuss about the new feature of the Spring Boot 3.1.0 release, which provides the support for the Docker Compose. Okay. So what it means? It means that let's say you have created one Spring Boot application and you have covered basic CRUD operations there. You have created couple of APIs to cover that CRUD operation. Okay. And you have one database, let's say it is MySQL database, which is also locally running on your system. You have connected your Spring Boot application with your database. Okay, everything is working fine. What if I say that you can move your DB from your local host or local machine to a Docker container by writing a Docker Compose file in your Spring Boot application? Okay, so this is what the feature of Spring Boot 3.1.0 release. It's provide the support for the Docker Compose. So let's say you have created one Spring Boot application. There you have created Docker Compose file. You have provided the necessary information related to your DB and the username and the password and URL so that your Spring Boot application can be connected with your database, which will be uh, up when you try to start your application. It will try to fetch or pull the Docker image of your database on your Docker uh, desktop and try to make it up on a Docker container, and it will try to connect with your Spring Boot application. So everything will be done by itself when you start your Spring Boot application. Okay, so this is what we are going to discuss in this video and we are going to implement it. Okay, so let's get started for that. So first of all, what we will do, we'll try to create a Spring Boot application. There I will try to cover the CRUD operations and create a APIs for that. And then I will try to write a Docker Compose file, and in the Docker Compose file we'll try to create the service for the database and we'll try to do the necessary configuration so that we can connect with the database which will be up on the Docker. Okay, so let's get started. So let me go to the IntelliJ and here let me try to create one Spring Boot application. So if you'll go to the file new project and let's say it is Spring Boot 3.1.0 release Docker Compose. Okay, and it is of Maven type. Go next. Okay, so this is not taking. So let's say it's a Spring Boot release new feature Docker Compose, something like that. And let me try to include the necessary dependency, which is Lombok web, and we are using database as a Spring Boot. Sorry, MySQL. So you can use that. Just search for the MySQL driver and then JPA. Okay. So these are the four dependency as of now we need to make our Spring Boot CRUD application. And later on we'll try to include the Docker Compose dependency as well so that we can use that feature. So yeah, and if you'll let me try to give you a brief description on the new feature of the Spring Boot 3.1.0 release. So if you'll go to the browser and if you'll search for this Spring Boot 3.1.0 release Docker Compose, there is a note of the Spring Boot and you can go through it. So you can see uh, these are some highlights from the 3.1.0 release. Uh, Supports for managing external services at development time using test containers and the Docker Compose you can see. So this is the feature that we are going to explore today. There are a couple more features and dependency upgrade on this 3.1.0 release. So let's get go to the IntelliJ and yeah, our application is up. Let me try to go to the Java and yeah. Okay, so first of all, let me try to make our application running so that I can see if it's working fine or not. So as of now, it will won't work because we have not defined our DB and all. Okay, so just wait for a few seconds and let it up and let it fail. Yeah, here you can see failed to determine a suitable driver class and all. So we don't have the configuration for the DB. So just let me try to, okay, it has already failed, so it is stopped. So it is working fine now. Let me try to start with the development. So let's say we are going to uh, cover a product management or product CRUD operations. Okay. So let me try to create an entity first. Let's say it is product. And let me try to include all argument constructor, no argument constructor, data for the getter and setter, and let's say it is table, and let's say the table name is product. Okay, sorry. So we are good now. Now let me try to provide couple of attributes here. So let's say ID, name, price and quantity. Okay, so private price would be double and quantity would be integer. So we are good now. Now let me try to create the repository here. So package repo, right click on it, go for that, create an interface which is let's say product repo. It will be extending the GPU repository and we need to provide the two attributes here, which is the first would be your entity which is product and its ID type. Okay, so product has the ID of integer type, so that is okay. Now let me try to create the service and let's say we have to create the service interface, product service, and let me try to create two methods as of now. Let's say private one will be inserting the record in the DB and another will be finding all the record which are inserted. So let's say it is product and insert product. We need to pass the product and the let me try to remove this. Now let me try to create the other method which will be returning the list of products. Okay, so get products import list. So we are good now. Now let me try to create the interface implementation class for this product service interface. So just create another package called IMPL and right click on it, go there, product service impl, which will be extending the or sorry implementing the product service. Okay, Now let me try to import this here. And now we need to override all the methods which are there in the product service interface. So we are good now. Let me try to auto where the product repo here so that we can use the JPA provided method. So before that, we need to annotate this class with @service annotation so that its bin can be created and assigned to the application context. Now let me try to auto where the repo here. So private product repo, product repo. Now let me try to use product repo dot save and pass the product here. And similarly, we need to use the product repo find all method. So just use that and we are good now. Now let me try to create the controller for it. So right click on it, create a package called controller. And here we need to create the class called product controller. Okay. So we are good now. Now let me try to annotate this class with @REST controller and let's say request mapping and let's say it is API products, something like that. And we need to create two mapping, one is get and another is post. So let's say find all and it is returning the list of product. Okay, so get all products and let me try to import it and let's say it is public and here we need to call the service method. So for that we need to auto wire the product service interface here. So private product service, we need to import it and then with the help of product service reference we can call the methods inside that. So let's say here we need to call the find all method, right? So get products method which is finding all and then simply return it. Similarly, we need to create a post mapping so that we can insert the product into DB. So let's say it is insert and insert and here we are returning only product which is being inserted in the DB. Okay, and we are passing it as a request body. Okay, so @request body product and we need to call the insert and then pass the product here. So we are good. Now let me try to okay, so insert product something like that. So we are good now. Now let me try to give you the flow, overall flow. So this find all API, what it will do, it will try to go to the product service and try to call this get products method. And in its implementation, you can see we are using this product repository and we are using the find all method which is provided by the JPA, which will try to fetch all the products from the DB. Similarly, if you'll go to uh, the other API, let me try to go to the save one. So you can see this insert API, what it is doing, it is getting the product from the client, from the postman, and try to convert it to the Java object and then calling the insert method which is inside the product service. And if you'll go to the implementation of it, you can see it is using the product repository.save method which is provided by the JPA and then inserting that product. So this is what the whole flow is. Now our application is created, we have created the APIs as well. Now what I need to do, I need to create the Docker compose file and do the necessary configuration for the database as well so that it can pull our Docker image for the MySQL DB and then try to connect it with the Spring Boot application. Okay, so before going to create the Docker compose file, what I want to make our Docker desktop locally up and running. So here I just want to let you know that I'm going to use the Docker desktop to make our Docker daemon up locally and running. So if you don't have Docker desktop installed on your machine, then make sure you have installed the Docker terminal. There are other ways than the Docker desktop to install the Docker on your Windows machine. So make sure you go through those things and make sure you have installed the Docker on your local machine and your Docker daemon is up locally and it is running. Okay, so uh, so here we are using the Docker desktop, right? So let me try to make our Docker desktop up. So just search for the Docker desktop and it will take few seconds to make it up, and I will try to also show you what all the images I have. So here you can see I have these images. Okay, so these many images I have, and here you can see I have the MySQL image of version 8.0.13 and the latest version of the MySQL as well. Okay, so let me try to remove it from here, and from the Docker Compose itself it will try to pull and then try to uh, add with the our application. Okay, so everything will be done by the Docker Compose file itself. So these two images I was having, let me try to go to the container and let me try to delete this container because this container was using the MySQL image which is of version 8.0.13. So let me try to remove it now. Okay, so this is removed. So as of now we don't have any MySQL Docker image. Okay, we'll try to do the necessary configuration in the Docker Compose file itself so that it can pull the Docker image for our MySQL and try to connect it with the application. Okay, so now let me try to go to the IntelliJ, and here let me try to create a Docker Compose file. So right click on it and go to the file and create the Docker Compose file. Okay, so Docker Compose dot x YML. Okay, make sure it is a YML file. So we are good now. Now we need to provide the version of the Docker Compose file and then do the necessary configuration. So let me try to do those things now. So let's say the version we are going to use is 3.1 version. So 3.1, and now we need to provide the services. Okay. So let's say the service is DB, and what image we are going to use? We are going to use the Docker image of the MySQL. Okay, so image, and it is of MySQL, right? And let's say I'm going to use the version for that is 8.0.13. Okay, so this version I'm going to use in our project. Now we need to provide the environment. So just do environment, and then we need to do the necessary configuration for the MySQL database and then for the Spring Boot. Okay, so let me try to do those things. So here first of all I'm going to do the configuration for the MySQL DB. Okay, so here we need to provide the username and password and database name. After that, what we'll do, we'll try to do the configuration for the Spring Boot so that it can be connected with the MySQL database. So for that we need to provide the URL and we need to provide the username and password. How we do the configuration in application.properties file, similar way we need to do here as well. So let me try to do the configuration for the MySQL first. So MySQL, okay, it will be MySQL underscore user. Okay, and you need to provide the username. So let's say username is root. Similarly, you need to provide the password for the root user. And now we have to do the configuration for the password. Okay, so it is MySQL password, or it is not MySQL password, it would be MySQL root underscore password. Okay, so this is the password for us, and the password is also root. Now coming to the database, so it is MySQL underscore database, and we need to provide the database here. So let's say the database name we are going to give is based upon the project. Okay, so we are going to like our entity is product, right? So let's say the database I'm going to provide here is product DB. Okay, now we need to do the configuration for the Spring Boot so that this Spring Boot application can be connected to the MySQL Docker image which will be up in the Docker container. Okay, so let me try to do that. So it is Spring underscore data source underscore URL. So first of all, I'm just going to provide the URL. Okay, so let's say the URL would be JDBC colon MySQL colon forward slash, and we need to provide the MySQL again, and then we need to provide the port number on which the MySQL will be up locally or on the Docker. So the default port for the MySQL is 3306 that we need to provide here. Okay, so let me try to provide the 3306 here, and then we need to provide the database name, which is product DB. You can directly provide, or you can pass this key as well. So you're good with the URL, and now coming to the username and password you need to provide, right? So it is spring underscore data source underscore, let's say this time it is user name, and username is root. Similarly, we need to provide for the password, and password is also root, right? So let me try to do that. Okay, so we are good now. Now we need to provide the ports on which our MySQL DB will be up in the Docker. So the default port for this MySQL is 3306 that we need to provide here. So 3306 colon 3306. So one port is on which your MySQL will be up in the Docker, which is 3306, and this is the exposed port so that it can connect with the other applications. Okay, so this is the configuration as of now. So what we did, we are done with the project creation. We created the application. We have created these two APIs, which is insert and find all, and then we made our Docker desktop locally up, and then now we created this Docker compose file. So everything is good. Now what we need to do, we need to add the Maven dependency for the Docker compose, which was introduced in the Spring 3.1.0 release. Okay, so let me try to go to the browser and try to search for it. So just search for the Docker compose Spring Boot 3.1.0 Maven. So go to it, and you can directly copy this. Okay, so just copy it, and now go to your IntelliJ and try to go to the pom.xml, and here you need to provide it. So just paste it down and then refresh your Maven so that it can download it locally, and you can use it. So here you can see it is resolving this dependency. So we are good now. So let me try to summarize. So we have created the application. We made our Docker desktop locally up, and now we have the Docker compose file where we have did the necessary configuration. Okay. So everything is working good. Now let me try to go to the application properties file and do one additional configuration for the JPA as well. So it is spring dot jpa dot hibernate dot ddl auto, so that automatically it can search our data, search our entity, and based upon that entity, whatever table name we have provided there, it will try to directly create the table for us in our Spring Boot, in our MySQL database. Okay, so let me try to do that. So update. So we did this configuration so that it can like the application will directly create a table in our MySQL database, which will be up on the Docker. So these are the things. Now we are good now, and now let me try to run our application. Okay, so just wait for a few seconds. It will try to build it first and then try to run it. So here you can see started doing those things, and just wait for a few seconds. So let me try to explain it. Here you can see it is pulling the DB image. Okay, so it will take few minutes based upon your internet speed. It will try to download it, and then after that it will try to make it up in a Docker container, and then it will try to connect with your MySQL application. Okay, so just be there. So you can see DB pulled, and now here it is started adding those things, creating the containers for you. Okay, so just wait. Okay, so it started doing those things, and here we getting some error. Okay, so let me try to go up, and here you can see error creating bean with the name product controller. Go through this product service simple and product repo. Okay, so we are making some mistake in the entity. I think that is why it is throwing uh, the bean cannot be created. Okay, so here you can see we have not added the at the rate entity annotation. Okay, so you need to do that, and here you need to provide the ID. Okay, and then you can also use the rate generated value, and let's say strategy is identity. Okay, let me try to do, yeah, generation dot identity. So we are good now. Because of this, I think it was not creating the bean, and that is why our application is failing. So, and let me try to go to the Docker desktop and try to show you. So here, if you'll go to the images, go to the up or go down. Here you can see this MySQL image with the version 8.0.13 is downloaded here. Okay, and it is in use as well. So if you'll go to the container, here you can see this Docker container is created, and we have this MySQL which was earlier running, but it is failed now. Okay, because of those errors. So we made these changes. Now let me try to make our application again up, and then try to see. Okay, so just be there. This time it won't take much time because this MySQL is already pulled, and it will try to create the container for us and then try to make it up. Okay, so you can see our application is up locally on the port number 8080, which is the default port for this Spring Boot application. So our application is working good, and if you go to the Docker, here you can see your uh, Docker container for the MySQL is running. That means your MySQL is locally up on the Docker. So everything is working fine. Now let me try to go to the product controller and then try to show you. These are the APIs that we have created, right? So let me try to hit the find all API first, and then we'll see how it is working. So for that, let me try to open the Postman here, and we need to create this mappings. Okay, so just give me a few seconds. It is up, and here you can see let me try to create one new collection, and let's say its name is Docker Compose MySQL. Now if we'll go to it, just add a request here. Okay, so first request I'm going to add is the get one, and what would be our URL? Our application is up locally on the port number 8080, so it is http colon double slash localhost 8080, and then let me try to go to the controller. So here you can see it is API products, which is the class level mapping, and then for the get mapping it is find all. So let me try to provide it that way, API products. Okay, and then find all, which is the get mapping. If you'll hit this, you can see you are not getting anything, but Here you can see the status is 200. That means our Spring Boot application is connected with the database which is there in the Docker. Okay. Now let me try to create a post API and try to insert a couple of records there. Okay, so let me try to duplicate this and try to make it a post. And let's say what would be the URL? Just copy the URL from here. Okay, and go to the post one, paste it here, and this time it would be insert, right? Let me try to show you. So if you'll go there, you can see API products, which is a class label mapping, and then for the post it is insert. Okay, now if you'll go to the body, you need to provide the product details here. So let me try to save it before. And if you'll go to the body, you need to select this raw, and here you need to select the JSON, and here you need to provide the product details. Okay, so here if you'll go to the entity, these are the attributes we have in the product, so which is ID, name, price, and the quantity. So you need to form a product record here. Okay, so let me try to do that. ID, which is let's say 101, and let's say name is, product name is, let's say mobile, and we have the price, let's say price is 20,000, and we have the quantity, let's say the quantity is 1, so quantity is QTY. Okay, because we have defined this way. Okay, so we are good now. Now let me try to send it, and here we go, we are able to insert this product detail in the database. Okay, so if you'll go to the git, and if you'll try to hit this, here you'll find the one product. Okay, because this product has been inserted there in our DB. So our application is working fine. Our application is up. It is connected with the database which is up in the Docker. Okay, so everything is working good. So if you want to insert couple more records, you can try it out. So let's say this time it is laptop, and let's say the price is 70,000. Hit enter, and here we go. It is inserted. If we'll go to the git, hit this, you can see these two products are coming. So our application is up, and it is like it is connected with the MySQL also, and everything is working fine. So this is about the video, guys. If you like the video, please hit the like button, and please let me know that if you need the same video for the PostgreSQL as well, so that I can cover in a separate video for that. Okay. So please like this video, and please subscribe the channel for more such content. Thanks.